The Arab world shares a common linguistic, cultural, and historical heritage. The political, economic, and social realities are far too complex for a single Arab superstate to emerge. The absence of an Arab superstate can be further understood by examining specific historical, political, and cultural examples that illustrate the challenges to unity in the Arab world. 1. Diverse political systems and governance. Monarchies versus republics. In the Arab world, the political systems vary widely. For example, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and Morocco are monarchies, where the king holds significant power, often with little or no checks from other political institutions. On the other hand, Egypt, Tunisia, and Algeria are republics, where presidents, often elected or appointed, hold power, but the governance structures are very different from those of monarchies. The divergence in political systems creates deep-rooted institutional and ideological differences, making the formation of a superstate that embraces all these systems unlikely. Syria's civil war. The ongoing conflict in Syria is another example. Under the leadership of President Bashar al-Assad, Syria has been embroiled in a civil war since 2011, involving various factions, including the government, opposition groups, and jihadist organizations. These internal divisions, along with the intervention of external powers, Russia, Iran, the US, and Turkey, highlight the complexities and challenges of creating a unified Arab state when countries have such conflicting political realities. 2. Historical and cultural differences. Maghreb versus Mashriq. The Maghreb, Western Arab world, including Morocco, Algeria, and Tunisia, and the Mashriq, Eastern Arab world, including Egypt, Iraq, and Syria, have very different historical backgrounds and cultural influences. For example, North Africa was historically influenced by Berber, Phoenician, and later French colonial culture, while the Levant, Eastern Arab world, was more influenced by ancient Mesopotamian, Byzantine, and Ottoman cultures. These distinct historical experiences have led to different political priorities, cultural practices, and regional identities. Religious divisions. While Islam is the predominant religion, there are significant differences between Sunni and Shia Muslims. For example, Saudi Arabia is a Sunni-majority kingdom, whereas Iran is a Shia-majority republic. Tensions between Sunni-majority Arab countries and Shia-majority Iran have been a significant source of division in the Arab world, particularly in places like Iraq, Syria, and Yemen, where sectarian conflict has often been exacerbated by these broader geopolitical struggles. 3. Geopolitical rivalries. Saudi Arabia versus Iran. The rivalry between Saudi Arabia and Iran is one of the most significant geopolitical divides in the Arab world. Saudi Arabia sees itself as the leader of the Sunni Muslim world and often positions itself against Iran, which is the primary Shia power in the region. This rivalry is not just religious but also political, as both countries vie for regional dominance. The war in Yemen, where Saudi Arabia backs the government against Houthi rebels, who are backed by Iran, is an example of how these two powers support opposing factions in the region, further fragmenting Arab unity. Egypt versus Syria. Historically, there was an attempt to unite Egypt and Syria into the United Arab Republic, UAR, in 1958, driven by Arab nationalist ideologies. However, the union collapsed in 1961 due to political differences and tensions over leadership. Egypt's leader, Gamal Abdel Nasser, supported the idea of Arab unity through pan-Arabism, but the Syrian leadership felt marginalized, which led to the dissolution of the union after just 3 years. 4. Colonial legacy and external influence. Sykes-Picot Agreement, 1916. During World War I, the Sykes-Picot Agreement between France and the United Kingdom divided the Ottoman Empire's Arab territories into spheres of influence. This colonial legacy created artificial borders that did not align with ethnic, tribal, or religious realities on the ground. For example, Iraq was created from the territories of Mesopotamia, which included the Sunni-majority central region, the Shia-majority south, and the Kurdish-majority north. These borders, drawn by colonial powers, have contributed to ongoing tensions and have hindered efforts toward pan-Arab unity. French and British mandates. After World War I, the Arab world came under the control of European colonial powers, with France taking control of Syria and Lebanon, and Britain controlling Iraq, Palestine, and Jordan. The legacy of these mandates has continued to affect political development in these countries. The sense of Arab nationalism grew as a response to colonial rule, but it was also influenced by the legacy of Western intervention, making it harder to form a united Arab political bloc in the post-colonial era. 5. Economic disparities. Gulf states versus other Arab nations ***. There is a significant economic disparity within the Arab world. The Gulf countries, such as Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Qatar, and Kuwait, are incredibly wealthy due to oil exports. These nations have developed advanced infrastructure, high standards of living, and have attracted large foreign investments. In contrast, countries like Sudan, Yemen, and Egypt face severe economic challenges, including poverty, unemployment, and underdeveloped infrastructure. These economic disparities make cooperation difficult, as wealthier nations are often unwilling to share resources or prioritize the welfare of poorer Arab countries. Egypt struggles. Egypt, one of the largest and historically influential Arab nations, has faced severe economic challenges, particularly after the Arab Spring of 2011 and subsequent political instability. The country has relied on financial aid from Gulf states to stabilize its economy, but it struggles with high unemployment, inflation, and external debt. This economic disparity with richer Gulf nations underscores the difficulty of achieving unity in the Arab world, as these nations have very different economic priorities. 6. Nationalism and sovereignty. Rise of nationalism. After the decline of the Ottoman Empire and the collapse of pan-Arab dreams, many Arab countries embraced strong national identities. This nationalism often took precedence over broader Arab unity. For example, the idea of a unified Arab superstate was popularized in the mid-20th century by leaders like Nasser, but as time passed, national pride and sovereignty became more important than pan-Arab unity. In countries like Egypt, Algeria, and Tunisia, leaders emphasized national sovereignty as a means of resisting foreign intervention and asserting local identity. Palestinian issue. The Palestinian issue has been another factor that has both united and divided the Arab world. While most Arab nations have supported Palestine's struggle for self-determination, there have been disagreements on how best to address the issue. Some countries, like Egypt and Jordan, have taken a more pragmatic approach, including peace agreements with Israel, while others, like Syria and Hezbollah in Lebanon, maintain a more radical stance. These differences over how to handle the Palestinian cause have often prevented Arab unity. 7. Failed attempts at unity. The United Arab Republic, UAR. As mentioned earlier, Egypt and Syria formed the United Arab Republic in 1958, which was a bold attempt at pan-Arab unity. However, the union collapsed in 1961 due to disagreements over political power and governance. The failure of the UAR exemplifies the challenges of Arab unity, as even when nations tried to come together, internal divisions and differences in leadership priorities were insurmountable. Arab League. The Arab League, founded in 1945, was designed to promote economic, cultural, and political cooperation among Arab countries. However, it has often been ineffective in achieving meaningful unity. For example, the League's response to the Syrian civil war has been largely divided, with some countries supporting the Syrian government and others backing opposition groups. This inability to act cohesively on major issues reflects the challenges of forming a united Arab superstate.